were documents that were released recently showing the Biden gang at the Justice Department and FBI celebrating the targeting of Navarro. And we asked for records about that. We've gotten the runaround, and so we've sued. One is a lawsuit concerning Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro is an aide to President Trump. He was an aide to President Trump in 2000, in the first term. And Peter's, who I know slightly, is a good guy. He's a trade guy, and he's a China hawk on trade and other matters. And both Republicans and Democrats don't like him because he kind of refuses to submit to the traditional approach on trade and how we're supposed to treat China and our foreign and other foreign governments when it comes to tariffs and such. So he's kind of he's known for his pro-tariff advocacy. He was questioned, or he was Congress wanted to question him, and the long and short of it is he thought there was an executive privilege he could assert, and he had the right to assert it, and rather than allowing him to assert it and respect it and adjudicate that issue, the Biden administration prosecuted him for contempt of Congress, and he served time in jail. And there were documents that were released recently showing the Biden gang at the Justice Department and FBI celebrating the targeting of Navarro. And we asked for records about that. We've gotten the runaround, and so we've sued under the Freedom of Information Act. So it's a federal Freedom of Information Act lawsuit against the Justice Department for these records. And let's see what we got here. Give me a second. So we asked for these records back in May of 2025. Records and communications of Special Agent Walter Giardina, Supervisory Special Agent Blair Tolman, and Assistant Special Agent in Charge Timothy Thibault about the investigation, arrest, indictment, or prosecution of Peter Navarro, to include contempt of Congress referrals regarding Navarro or any other former Trump administration officials, which I guess would include Steve Bannon, who was also targeted with unprecedented prosecutions over contempt of Congress. Giardina, the lead name we're asking about, he was fired by the FBI in 2025. Tolman was fired in 2025, and Thibault resigned in 2022. So these guys were kind of up to their neck in some of this lawfare activity. And it's hard to get fired from the FBI, even by the Trump administration, because they've only fired at most 138 people as of a few weeks ago. Navarro was sentenced in January 2024 to 4 months in prison for refusing to appear before the U.S. Congress to give testimony and produce documents as required for a subpoena he received from the Select Committee to investigate January 6th. So this is all tied to the January 6th jihad by the left in Congress, along with the media, who were using the January 6th disturbance as an excuse to destroy the Republican Party, jail Trump, and anyone else who dared to dispute the election. Now, Chuck Grassley exposed emails showing the celebration of targeting Navarro. Let me show you some of these emails, and you can judge for yourself whether you think it's appropriate or whether you think that Navarro was the subject of a dispassionate, normal prosecution or one that was unhinged. The DC USAO would like, so the U.S. Attorney's Office would like Navarro indicted on June 2nd. We're working on the possibility of such a search warrant as well, writes Walter Giardina. And it's sent along to Tolman, and who sends it along to Thibault, who writes here, look at this. Wow, great. Look at all the other stuff they wanted to do against him. Contempt of Congress cases update. I just spoke with the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office. So the District Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia, which is now run by Jeanine Pirro, was run obviously by the Biden administration appointee at the time these emails were being written. After consultation with Maine Justice, they are not intending to prosecute Meadows or Scavino, Mark Meadows or Dan Scavino, two former Trump aides. The decision is based on their White House positions and prior DOJ opinions. Molly asked for you to call if you have any questions or concerns. We've been told to cease work on those cases. They would like to charge Navarro in the next 2 weeks. However, this is what we need to accomplish. Locate him. By the way, he's been out, he was at the time quite public about what he was doing. Get subpoena returned from Verizon, so get his phone records. An issue preservation letter to Apple, I guess iPhone records. Prepare a search warrant for his phone. And this is the abusive part. So they know they're going to indict him, so they're going to go to his house and try to catch him with a knock and talk interview, and then serve a phone search warrant at the conclusion of the interview. So this was the agenda. You know, he was targeted in a way never seen before on contempt of Congress charges. Now, by the way, the Attorney General of the United States was also ultimately referred, Attorney General Garland, for contempt of Congress for refusing to produce material to Congress. Did the Justice Department prosecute him? No. So you can see all these documents here. We reference them in our press release. But we want more information about the abusive targeting of Navarro. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the Justice Department does on another contempt of Congress case, which was just initiated or is about to be initiated, or should be, as a result of a referral from Congress, the first step of which with the Committee on Government Affairs and Oversight. I think that's what it's called. Was it the Government Oversight Committee? They referred Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. They voted out, and so the full House will vote on it, a contempt citation for the Clintons, who have refused to testify to the Oversight Committee about Epstein. Now, they may have objections to doing so, but when you get a subpoena from Congress, you're supposed to testify and show up and testify, and they refuse to do so. And they pretend they want to cooperate, but there are all sorts of conditions on their cooperation that Congress, you know, doesn't give to people normally. And it's up to Congress to enforce their subpoena. And Hillary and Bill refused to obey the subpoena. And so now they're likely to be found in contempt. Although I shouldn't say that, because, you know, there could be some Republicans who are afraid of their own shadow and refuse to vote for a full contempt referral to the Justice Department. So the Justice Department, though, is yet to prosecute Garland for the contempt citation. And I wonder if they're going to prosecute Bill and Hillary. And they're also hiding records about the improper or abusive prosecution of Peter Navarro. And so we're in court over it. And it's not the only issue we're sued. We sued for the emails of Jack Smith, as I noted, in November of last year. We sued the Justice Department for more FBI anti-Trump machination documents back in September. And of course, we have many FOIA records requests, and I think more than one lawsuit at this point for Arctic Frost records, which was the core investigation or jihad against Trump by the Biden Justice Department, Arctic Frost. And by the way, Arctic Frost, it looks like, you know, what you may be wondering why that name, Arctic Frost, they came up with. Well, it looks like, according to my understanding, that it was, I forget, because the documents were released by Grassley. They called it something other than Frost. It was like something else Frost, and they didn't like it. Now, typically the names are kind of auto-generated, so they're not supposed to make any sense. But Arctic Frost is a type of orange, right? And so it's all geared at mocking Trump, you know, because the left sees him as, you know, the joke is Orange Man, and they derisively refer to him as Orange Man. And so the gang in the Biden FBI and Justice Department came up with a investigative name for the targeting of Trump that mocked him. Arctic frost. So I thought you might like to know that level of detail. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.